Hi everyone, welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Okay, I don't think I have any announcements for you guys today, so let's just get into the stories. Okay, the first story that I have for you guys, this is kind of a nothing story, but I feel like it closes the loop on stuff we've been talking about, but Alix Earle has confirmed that there is some type of feud that she has with Alex Cooper. So we all know it was very obvious that something went down between Alix Earle and Alex Cooper amid their working relationship, but it was never fully confirmed until now. In case you missed it, Alex Cooper tapped Alix Earle to be one of the launch podcasts of the Unwell Network. At the time, it very much seemed like Alex Cooper was trying to make Alix Earle her predecessor. Alix Earle launched with her podcast called Hot Mess, and the episode that they did together to announce this, Alex Cooper very much seemed like she was trying to get kind of the raunchy OG call her daddy stories and energy out of Alix Earle. And this is where some people think things might have started to go wrong between the two of them, because Alix Earle is a lot more conservative in what she shares online. It might not seem like it because so much of her public image is about partying, and she shares so many wild party stories and vlogs and get ready with me's. But if you compare how Alex Cooper overshared in the early days of her career versus how Alix Earle overshares, it is very different. Alix Earle is not sharing about her sex life. She's not even really centering men in her content at all. People currently think she's not with her boyfriend, even though she has confirmed that she is, because she so very rarely talks about him and, just centers him. Even I know they live in different states right now, but you know what I mean? In general, her content is about herself, her career, and her friends. Alix Earle also had a lot of really big business opportunities by the time she joined Unwell. So yeah, I'm not surprised that she didn't kind of go up on her podcast and start sharing her blowjob stories and things like that, because, she had huge contracts with brands already, and she was an equity creator in Poppy. She was truly a business woman early on in her career. She's doing speeches at Harvard now, So it's there is this kind of dichotomy between her content and this business side of herself. But I think in general, she is actually relatively brand safe. And Alex Cooper and original Call Her Daddy, that was not brand safe in the early days. So high stakes, they did a more comprehensive breakdown of what happened between the two of them. If you guys want more information, go listen to their episode on that. But essentially, they severed their business relationship and Alix Earle's podcast went on a hiatus. Now, Alix Earle has confirmed that something did happen between the two of them, and it wasn't entirely amicable. Alix posted on TikTok saying that her astrology app told her she can, quote, start shit today. So people jumped in her comment section to ask her to spill some tea on different things that she has stayed quiet about. Obviously, Alex Cooper was part of that. So someone wrote, yes, tell us what happened with Alex Cooper, thank you. And she commented, and it's still up, she wrote, how much time do you have? I need to know. I need to know what happened. What do you guys think happened? I think it's possible that Alex Cooper expected Alix Earle to, like I said, be a little bit raunchier and overshare more, and she wasn't comfortable doing that. And I also think she expected her to promote the Unwell Network in a different way and more frequently, and I think it was probably for free. I think she expected that for free because, they throw all those events and they have all that podcast talent that goes. Maybe they're not being paid for it, I don't know, but I believe it was in the middle of Alix Earle's podcast contract that her dad took over as her manager. So I do feel like her dad was trying to fight for better compensation for her, just probably better conditions in general, probably paid appearances as opposed to having to go to these appearances for free in her contract, because Alix Earle almost never went to these parties and everybody noticed that. That's when people started to notice that something was going on. But yeah, saying how much time do you have makes me feel like it was a bunch of things. I want to know. I also really want to know what happened between Alix Earle and Xandra. I know that's kind of old news. I know that they were friends so long ago and feels like probably a lifetime ago to them, but I want to know. I want to know. Okay, speaking of friendship breakups, the next story that I have for you guys is that Brooke Schofield and her longtime BFF, Bobbi, have seemingly, I meant to say best friend, and then my brain said BFF because I was reading Bobbi. Anyways, best friend Bobbi seemingly have had a falling out. Okay, so as the canceled podcast is coming to a close at the end of their Australian tour, fans have noticed that Brooke and her longtime best friend Bobbi, which stands for Brooke Baldwin, may no longer be friends. The rift seemingly started when Brooke hired Bobbi as her assistant on the European leg of the canceled podcast tour. About a month ago, Brooke told a story on Canceled of how they got into a huge fight on this tour. It basically stemmed from Brooke wanting to do a boat day at some point and telling Bobbi to book a boat. Bobbi didn't know when Brooke wanted the boat, for how long she wanted to do it. Like, she didn't have any of the details, so she didn't book it. And before she could book it, Tana booked a boat for everyone. So Brooke was already, annoyed about this. And then on the boat, Bobbi put a drink down beside Brooke, and when Brooke stood up, the drink spilled all over Brooke. And Brooke says that Bobbi was like, why would you stand up when there's a drink beside you? Like, instead of saying sorry, she basically just, blamed Brooke. And then Brooke said that Bobbi wasn't cleaning up the drink well enough. She was like, she just had a rag and it was on her foot, and she was just pushing it around with her foot and talking to us and drinking instead of actually cleaning it. Anyways, after Brooke told this story, Bobbi left some comments on TikTok. Someone had posted this clip and Bobbi wrote, "Didn't get fired, by the way. Said I didn't want to do it again for the Australia tour because we got into the first fight we have ever been in 7 years of friendship." And then somebody said, "Why defend yourself on a TikTok instead of to Brooke herself?" And Bobbi wrote, "Already have, babe, and I wasn't physically there for this podcast to defend myself." Literally true. I just can't imagine a worse scenario. I know celebrities and influencers do this all the time, but I cannot imagine a worse scenario than hiring my best friend as my assistant. The power dynamic there is already going to be so messed up. It's already going to either put your friendship in major jeopardy, or they're not going to actually properly act like your assistant because they're your best friend. So they feel like they're on level playing field with you when you're actually paying them. It's just I feel like it is a complete recipe for disaster. Okay, but now over the weekend, fans think that there's officially been a falling out, as it appears that Bobbi may have blocked Brooke on Instagram. They are no longer tagged in any photos together, and she no longer follows Brooke. And obviously, to manually untag yourself from all those photos feels like a lot. So it seems as though, she probably blocked Brooke. I know there was already speculation that something maybe weird was going on in the friend group because Bobbi started dating this girl, Lauren, and Lauren is part of the infamous Mindy Storytime because Lauren is the girl that Brooke had a crush on in the Mindy Storytime. And if you guys don't know the Mindy Storytime, it's this long storytime saga of why Tana and Brooke Schofield stopped being friends years and years ago, and then they talked about the whole situation again. So the reason why it's called Mindy is because Tana did a story time about Mindy, and then Brooke did a response video saying, "I'm Mindy." But anyways, it seems like Brooke Schofield is actually okay with Bobbi and Lauren. She was saying that she's happy that they're dating, and she said she was always worried that when Bobbi got a girlfriend, it would push her out. So she's happy it's Lauren because they're all in the same friend group. So I don't know. For those of you who are invested in the canceled universe, in Brooke and Bobbi and Lauren and Tana and that whole group, that's the tea for now. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys, this is a bit of a trend I think I'm seeing on TikTok. I haven't talked about one of these stories in a long time, but TikTok comment bots seem to be taking over creator pages, and I think it's intentionally to embarrass them. So let me explain. There's this new trend taking over TikTok, like I said, the comment sections of different creators. And I kind of have my tinfoil hat on right now because I think it's possible that people are paying for them to embarrass influencers that they don't like. Okay, so the comment sections of huge creators have been inundated lately with comments that appear to be purchased by the creator. The reason they seem like they're purchased by the creator is because the comments will come from an account that is faceless or nameless or just very obviously not real. And the comments will say something along the lines of, "Sure, could you provide me with the video description or any specific details so I can craft the perfect comment for you?" The first creator who was kind of caught out for this, or at least I saw was caught out for this, was New York City TikToker Kit Keenan. A screenshot of this in her comments section was posted on Reddit a few weeks ago, and the belief at the time, for the most part, was that Kit must be paying for comment bots to boost her engagement and to appear more popular to brands. And obviously, in this particular comment bot situation, she forgot, this is what people assumed, to change out kind of the automatic filler, right, that they prompt you. Since then, though, these comments are starting to show up everywhere, like all over so many creators' videos, which leads me to believe that this could be a troll tactic, that people are intentionally buying these bots and, putting those comments in them. So it appears like the influencer is buying them themselves, that they don't actually have as much influence, that, they're actually like buying engagement essentially. Because as far as I've seen, these comments are only on posts of creators who are quite big, quite famous, or quite divisive. It's creators who are frequently posted about on Reddit. They elicit a lot of emotions in users for whatever reason. Now, I'm not saying that creators don't use comment bots. I think there's many who probably do, especially on sponsored videos. But this specific type of comment has become a trend. Like, it's not just one instance on Kit Keenan's video anymore. So I do think it's users intentionally posting this themselves or paying for comment bots with the intention to troll or embarrass the creator. It is also possible that there is some like mass glitch going on with one or many of the companies that do these comment bots, and therefore it's like any creator that has used them or is using them is getting these comments, and that's why. I don't know, but what do you guys think? I think it's so fascinating. Like, it happened to Brooke Schofield last week, and she responded to it. She was like, what? So yeah, it's happening all over TikTok. I'm interested if you guys have any insight or if you guys have any opinion on that. That's my theory, at least. Okay, and I have one more story for you guys, and that is that Bobbi Althoff's podcast is over. Industry plant no more. Bobbi Althoff has ended her podcast, The Really Good Podcast. This is a really big deal because if you remember, so Bobbi, she is kind of like a deadpan satirical TikToker. She launched her podcast in 2023 and she got so much hate for it and like so much press at the same time because she was immediately met with accusations that she was an industry plant because of the caliber of guests that were coming on her show. So she had like Mark Cuban, Drake, like from the jump, these huge names. People didn't really know her, especially outside of TikTok. People were like, who is this person? She also got a lot of flack for her delivery, like how she went about her podcast, because like the kind of, I guess, like deadpan satirical interview style, it is more popular. Like Amelia de Moldenberg does it, Z-Way does it. A lot of people didn't think that Bobbi was able to truly nail it. They thought she was just kind of like standoffish and rude, and it didn't feel like banter with her guests. It just felt like very uncomfortable and like she didn't know what she was doing. The reality of like who she was in the podcasting world, we still don't like really know, but I mean, she has said she's not an industry plant. I think it's much more likely she was signed by, is it WME? One of the really big agencies to launch her podcast, and therefore a lot of the talent that they had essentially under the same umbrella were going on her podcast. Anyways, Bobbi announced in the most recent episode of her podcast that that was her last. She said The Really Good Podcast was a great podcast. She got me this house, got me the car I drive, got me a lot of stuff. She was really great. I really appreciate her for the time I had with her. She brought me a lot of memories of a lot of great guests. She got me a few interviews taken down. At the end of the day, she was good and I'm going to miss her. Yeah, her Drake interview was taken down. On why it was ending, she said, I didn't know I'd fall off as quickly as I did. To be honest, I did think this was going to last a bit longer, but nevertheless, it lasted a minute and I'm proud of the accomplishments I had, and I'm pretty sad that it has to end like this, but it's okay. I will say, if the reason for her podcast ending is because it fell off, because like she just doesn't have the ratings and the audience that she once did when she first launched and everybody was kind of talking about her, like, who's this girl? How does she have such big guests? Whatever. I think that's really honest, and I think it's interesting and also on brand that she would just be like, yeah, it fell off. Yeah, like it just wasn't a success anymore. And it makes sense. People were listening to the early episodes because she had such crazy guests and because her interview style was so abrasive and bizarre. But, that I guess for a lot of listeners, I don't know, I wasn't like a frequent listener, but for a lot of listeners, I guess that got old, or it didn't convert them at least to stans. That being said, I did see a lot of people say that they don't believe that this is true and that she'll be back. So I don't know. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.